This meeting is being recorded.
Late night, early mornings, DJ Bax. This is the podcast. No doubt we're going to do this. Like I said, like the title says, late night and early mornings. Let's go.
Late nights, early mornings, DJ Bax.
This is the podcast, y'all. I gave you the pregame before, right?
Late nights, early mornings, DJ Bax.
Let's go. This is what it's all about, that late night, early morning style, baby.
Late nights, early mornings, DJ Bax.
Got my brother with me. Hey. Definitely gonna get it on and popping tonight.
Late nights, early mornings, DJ Bax.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Late nights, early mornings, DJ
Let's
Bax.
get ready to
Late nights, early mornings, DJ Bax. Late nights, early mornings,
Check this out.
Excuse me, what happened if you mash this button? What do it do?
Late night, early
I know
mornings.
you're gonna dig this.
This is the podcast, y'all.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Let's get it on. Let's get it on. Let's get it on to the break of dawn. Definitely. This is the late night. This is 12 o'clock at night. So
Yeah.
this is the new definition of late night, early mornings, right? This is how we
But
do
that's
it.
what it's all about, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As y'all can see, got my brother with me again. You know, Mr. Springs there. Springtime. Mr. Springs, you know, give it up for him. You know, that is the man of the hour. Just getting off the road, checking in with me. For the people in the back.
Yeah.
Joining the late night, early morning show once again. Definitely
Yeah.
much love to this brother here. And not only to him, but to his organization there, Organized Words of Expression. Definitely check them out. They on the book, you know, he's got the website, puts the cast on Spotify.
Mm.
You know, I preached about it last week. I can't say enough, you know, definitely shout out to that brother, man. So
Appreciate that love. Appreciate that love,
no
bro.
worries, no worries, no worries. Appreciate you joining me tonight once again on the late night, early mornings podcast, The Conversation, y'all.
Mm.
So speaking of the conversation, before I get into the conversation, before we get into our craziness, right? Want to get on a serious note here and kind of leads into kind of what we've been talking about. But you know, RIP, rest in peace and justice for the young lady from Charlotte that was, for a lack of better words, you know, murdered by supposedly her friends there in Mexico. Chanquilla there. No, I believe her funeral was today. I'm lost for words for that. When I seen the story, I just being a father, you know, my brother, he's a father of girls. And just hearing that was tragic. Not only tragic, just saddening. for our community. And not only that, but for our people. We got to protect our babies. I mean, we have to. And it just saddens me and definitely just does something. If it doesn't do something to your soul, then something's wrong with it, right?
I feel you on that.
Yes, sir. And it's got to stop, y'all. And I know people say it all the time or whatever the case, but it's real. It's real. You got to stop taking our babies from us. I mean, there's no way that a parent should bury their child. And I know everything is in God's hands and he calls it how it is. And she's up in there in heaven with him. But just tragic and got to watch the company you keep.
Mm.
This is real as it gets. Watch the company you keep. So young people, we're in your corner. We're praying for you. We wishing the best for y'all. Just, you got to be more careful. And, I know she didn't see that coming or whatever the case may be. And, definitely praying for justice be served towards the people that did that to her. Everybody's held accountable. Everybody.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. So, I couldn't start off the show without acknowledging that and definitely condolences to her family and friends and the people that are going to miss that young lady there. And, just the heed to the other young people out there. Be careful of the company you keep. Everybody ain't your friend, right?
Say that again. And it's a beautiful thing that you were started off like this. I mean, I know you all about good vibes and bringing positive energy and everything, but people are hurt. You're
Yes.
talking about someone who lost a child, and then the other families that's about to go through some other issues through the process. It's a lot of families hurting because of bad decisions that was made by young adults.
Yes.
And yeah, so shout out to everybody that's going through these challenges right here, and not just those challenges, but to the family in Rock Hill that's going through some challenges as well.
Mhm.
People that's hurting right about these times. Shout out to you, man. We praying for you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's what both of our shows are about. We're about uplifting positivity. Check
No
us out.
doubt. Yeah,
You
no
may get
doubt.
something from it. We motivating somebody.
Yes.
If it ain't nothing but me and him, we motivate
Yes.
somebody. We're gonna motivate somebody.
Big
Definitely.
facts. Big facts.
Definitely. And that's what we do it for, And kind of picking up off of, what we talked about last week. We talked a lot about, our brotherhood and, the things that, we did in our earlier years.
Mhm.
I think some things we still do, we hang out time to time, and definitely it's a good fellowship, our circle's small and that's the way, we like it,
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
drama,
Okay. Yes.
but just picking up on a lot of those things that we were talking about as far as events and showing love for our city,
Mm,
my man, Mr. Springs here is born and raised, CLT Charlotte,
that's right. Shout out to Charlotte. Love y'all.
Charlotte, love it. And for me, truthfully, it's my home. I was a military brat, so I moved around a lot, but Charlotte was the place that, I settled down and, my babies were born and raised in Charlotte and went to
Yep.
elementary all the way through high school and all of that great stuff. So Charlotte is the home, 17, 18 years in the city, mad love for it. Watch it grow, watch it expand. Like I said, we were talking about in the last show here about what we consider the golden era of Charlotte for African American, older African American, grown and sexy style, and a lot of places. And I know we named off a lot of spots. Shout out, to CJ's and City Lights. We talked about that a lot. But some places that we forgot about, or we didn't forget about, we just ran out of time. But one place that I want to bring you back to, because me and you and E-Love and I believe Ivory hung out with us there. Remember Fifth Element? Fifth Element right there on Graham Street. Fifth
I
Element.
do. I do. That's crazy because you be bringing up things that, yeah, it slips my mind and I just don't be thinking about it. But Fifth Element, shout out to Fifth Element. They did
Yeah.
it when they came out, they did it different. They came out different and they did things that was big. I remember when Jeezy came there.
Mm.
Oh my, I'm gonna tell you, you want to know an artist that would bring people out
Hmm.
when Jeezy come? Oh man, it was hot up in there. It was fire. It was nice. It was nice. Good show for
Was
Jeezy.
I there that night?
I don't remember.
I don't
I'm so
remember either. I
serious, bro.
could, yeah, there's a lot of nights.
God,
It's
I don't
all comes a
remember.
blur. Age is age. Age
Yeah, it is.
happens. It happens
But
to
you know,
you.
we roll so tight. I want to say yeah, but I
I
can't
probably was.
remember.
I probably
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of nights. I mean, Fifth Element was a hot spot. It was definitely growing and sexy. I know in the latter part of it, they changed the game up. I understand why, but they started off as a lot of clubs. They started off growing and sexy, and then when they kind of needed, to get more money in there, then they had to go to a younger crowd. Um, but I think I was in there that night when Jeezy was in there. Yeah.
I think so. I'm not sure, but I
Yeah.
remember um hanging out there, and then also as a driver, as a truck driver, the job that I had at the time, I would make deliveries there during the daytime,
Mm.
and also meeting some of the staff or whatever. And little did you know, at that time I was working at a place called Second Harvest, and Second Harvest, shout out to Second Harvest, they look out for those that are in need of a meal, or those that are in need to build themselves up, kind of, sort of like.
Mhm.
And that particular business would donate various things that would help feed these people. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but that not many clubs be participating in stuff like that, but they did. Shout out to Fifth Element.
Shout out to that crew. And then I like that. Like I said, a lot of these clubs they start out with the grown and sexy, appeal, and then they
Mm.
have to change over. I understand it's a money game. You got to get your money. But I remember Fifth Element. They start out, kind of grown and sexy up top. Then they had the downstairs where they had like the
Yeah.
the reggae or whatever. Which actually goes into another, well, probably one of the longest standing clubs in Charlotte. They're still
Mm.
not, they're still open. I'm not sure, but the reggae spot, oh my God, and I just forgot the
Ah,
name that quick. It's been open forever.
the Plaza.
Yeah, yeah.
I forgot that one. I forgot the name.
Crystals,
Crystals. Yes,
crystal,
yes, yes, yes.
crystal.
The thing about crystals though, and I think you turned me on to this because you peeped it out. When we went there, they get a nice crowd. Well, when we
Yeah.
was going anyway, they
Mhm.
kept a nice crowd consistently, but they kept repeated customers.
Mhm.
So we go up in there, we like, we stand out. Wah, wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah,
Yeah. Who
know.
are you?
Yeah, yeah. But it was nice up in there. Crystal's been
Who are-
going for a long time. You're right.
Crystal's one of the good things about the city in the city, Charlotte. We're in the Bible Belt, so
Oh
we
yeah.
we oblige by those Bible Belt rules. But Crystal's was the only spot that stayed open at 5 o'clock.
Mm.
Before the strip clubs. Crystal's was like, if you wanted to go somewhere after the club, you have to go to Crystal. That was the only
Oh yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a different game right there, and i.e. why we kind of hung out there quite a bit. But yeah, Crystals, another spot, 935, when they first opened, they were growing sick. A big club. That was one of the first big clubs for African Americans in Charlotte. They started
Um,
out grown and sexy and
uh-huh.
mixed, and then eventually they went to younger. I think when they were closing down, they were down like to 18 and up type deal. I remember
Uh,
my kids telling me they hung out there, but
now that's up when your kids tell you that.
yeah, yeah,
935, that's the one that's off Monroe.
No,
No,
935
not
was
Monroe.
Moorhead.
Moorhead. That's what I meant to say.
Moorhead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
that was a nice spot. Shout out to Jamal. Jamal was the bouncer up in there. That's my homie from back in the hood.
Oh,
It was
okay.
always good to go up in there and see Jamal in there.
Yeah.
He cool dude, boy, cool dude, but ain't the one,
Word.
But nonetheless, yeah. And you told me about that theory of how
Mhm,
clubs have come out old school, right? And
mhm.
entertaining old school because old school is safe. Old school, look, you have a good time and then you take your butt home or you go to the Waffle House. But it's not a lot of money there. And then what happens with a lot of with the clubs that you broke this down to me and you said what happens is they go where the money and the monies are then in the young heads. But that's also where the trouble at.
True.
So you'll see a lot of clubs that start out one way, but they end up another, then they get shut down. It's like a theme in Charlotte almost.
It's a theme everywhere.
Oh
I
yeah?
think everybody
Okay.
starts out with good intentions. And not to say, and don't ever believe. I mean, we grown with ours. We
Yeah.
understand. We understand our time, and during our time, trust and believe, we had our share of nonsense going on as well. Because trust and believe, in the early '90s, you wasn't going nowhere and staying the whole night without getting the club getting shot up or some shooting going on.
Or a
Trust and
fight.
believe.
Oh,
There was one time, and like I said, my brother IV, our brother there,
shout out to IV.
shout out to IV. A lot of my early years, me and him hung, and I'll never forget you being a native Charlotte person, you will remember a spot called Weekends. Not weekends, yes. And the thing was, weekends was the spot. Young buck, 16, 17 years old. Weekends, like you had to get the weekend. Weekends was the spot. But the thing is that you go out in Charlotte back then, early 90s, trust and believe, if you don't leave at a decent time, you are going to get in the middle of a fight or you get shot at. Guaranteed. And bust our behind to get the weekends, got the weekends, and leaving the club and the club shut down early, started a fight in the parking lot, shot the parking lot up. So, and I'll never forget this clear as day. So we're laying on the ground because they're spraying the parking lot. They're spraying the parking lot. I look over, we duck down behind a car as they spray in the parking lot. I look over, Charlotte PD is out there. CPD is out there. I look over, CPD is laying down beside me from the bullet. And the guy whose car it was, who we were laying under, was getting ready to pull off. The cop told him, "Don't you move this car."
Freeze.
Freeze. I'm like, you laying down, you need to go after them people that's shooting. But you laying down here beside us. But that's how it was back in the 90s. I mean, it was Wild Wild West as well. It got a little, about it back then. But
A little, yeah, man. I'm gonna tell
a
you how
lot.
bad it was when we went to that spot, bro. We would park in the parking lot, a couple of buildings down, because it's too congested. And then when the fight break out and the shooting break out, everybody trying to leave at one. Nah, bro, we going down here a couple of buildings down when we can just hop in the aisles and just pull on off. That's
Mhm.
how we was thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because it was lit. It would stay lit.
Definitely. And that wasn't the only spot. I don't think you were going to any spot in CLT or anywhere for that matter, and it not possibly have some altercation. And that's just how it was. The music changed, things got more aggressive, and that's how it is. Um,
Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this right here, bro.
mhm.
Weekends. I think I'm getting weekends mixed up with Sugar Shack. You remember
I,
Sugar Shack?
I remember Sugar Shack.
Which one was on North Tryon? That was Sugar Shack.
Sugar Shack. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
Weekends was on the Plaza or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
that's a bigger parking lot. Shout out
Yeah.
to Weekends. I lost a homie up in there, but went there to a Luke concert. And
Mm, mm, mhm.
Yeah, Luke's something else. Have you ever been to a Luke concert? You already know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Luke,
so
yeah.
yeah, I got it mixed up. That was Sugar Shack that we were parked down a couple of buildings. Um, weekends, weekends came with the term phrase of parking lot pimping. When you ain't really got to go in, you could stay in the parking lot. You remember it was Chopper Lounge. It was a couple of them on off of West Boulevard where the old KFC used to be. I forgot that one. You ain't
Mm,
gotta go in. You
mm.
stand out there in the parking lot, you have a ball.
Yeah.
That's 90s clubs. That's what I remember.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It was a party everywhere. Everybody was in the party business back then,
Mm, yeah.
and it changed. And I say there's been multiple changes, throughout the years. But I'll say one of the things that kind of changed the tone altogether was Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. That
Oh
Chronic
my,
album. That
oh my
Chronic
God.
album changed the game because primarily the music that was being played, especially when you're talking about hip hop, well, number one, R&B. R&B was leading. R&B, like most places were R&B clubs. And if hip hop was being played, it was New York hip hop.
Oh yeah.
Till Dr. Dre and Snoop, when Dr. Dre dropped that Chronic album,
Mm.
the game changed
Completely.
completely,
Yes, it did.
completely.
I
And
remember being in the barber shop because see a lot of people don't believe me when I be trying to tell them, bro. I used to have hair. But see, that was a long time ago. That was around Dr. Dre.
that was,
But I would be at the barber shop and the guy that was cutting my hair would say, that's a classic. That's an instant classic. That album would go down in history. It's like parents was teaching their kids word for word the chronic more
yeah,
so than they was teaching them, real stuff, ABCs, one, two, threes. It
yeah,
was that real, especially in the hood. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the impact on that was across the board, across the board. It just nobody. And the great thing about it, and that's what I love about hip hop, is when nobody sees it coming. Nobody saw the Chronic album coming. Nobody saw it, and I don't care what you say. Nobody saw that coming, and that's
Now the
what made it beautiful.
now the chronic came when he left Death Row. Am I right?
Well,
That's some aftermath.
that's well. There's two things. So when he initially when he left Ruthless Records, when he left Easy E,
Mm,
he started Jimmy Iovine gave him the deal, and he started Aftermath. So there is an album before the Chronic, which is and I can't remember the name of it offhand. And forgive me, but there is an album where I remember the single, one of the singles that actually got a video to it was called I've Been There, Done That. And with that, he actually didn't really get too much fanfare off of it.
right.
But it was an album.
Yeah.
Then after that, that's when Death Row and the Chronic came out. After, well, originally the first single, obviously, that kind of got them started was